Good afternoon. And I'm sorry I look like crap. I've been crying, I don't know, a bit. And I'll tell you why in a second. It's because last night I had a panic attack. And I haven't had a true panic attack in a while, but I will say I'm well versed in them. During the last legs of my abusive relationship, that's where my body went. Every time we had a fight, I would escalate to the point where I would get into shakes. Those shakes escalated to projectile vomiting. And if you think that that would stop the person across the table from hurting me, it wouldn't. Which is something to be said for itself. So I started having panic attacks in the last year of my relationship, and then I left the relationship, and those panic attacks escalated to PTSD really quickly. It was pretty much a poetic journey. Now, there are stages in panic attacks, right? There's like the stage where your brain goes blank and you cannot move. I hit that one a lot. Next one's like shock level shakes. And if you've ever had these, there's almost impossible to get out. It's like, and I've had those quite a bit. The next stage is projectile level vomiting. And honestly, you get to a point where your stomach explodes. Like, and it explodes in both ways. And it's like the stuff comes out of you in like a pretty spectacular way. And I know that's pretty gross, but that's basically what happens. Anyways, the panic that I had last night does not escalate to the projectile vomiting or the shock level shakes. Last night I had an incident where it's just my brain went on freeze, like freeze state, where basically you just hit a stress wall and it's like you can't do anything, right? It's like your brain's like, click, nope. No more for you. And you're basically neurologically comatose. And there's part of me that thinks that your brain goes into that space to repair. Now, last night, I didn't know why I went into that state. Like, I didn't have any indication. My daughter had a dance competition today that we went to. That was a little bit stressful, but not even close to the amount of stress that I would need to feel to get to that state. I didn't find out until this morning. So it turns out that my family posted some really nasty comments about me online last night, and I didn't know until this morning, but I have no problem sharing. I'm not fucking hiding your malice anymore. This is it. You can read it. This is what my family sent me. Now, obviously, I have some very close family that's a little bit ragey at me, and I will tell you, my intuition is telling me many things. One, it has something to do with the title of something, maybe the title of a house. And two, I think he's hacked into my computer, both of which will be exposed. Both of which will be exposed unless you come clean. Like, I put that offer on the table in many other ways. But if you come to me and expose what you have done, I will not publicly post all the things that I find. But until you do that, I will say to you, it will be publicly exposed. Everything that I find. Now, I haven't even started looking. Like, I haven't started looking into my father's world. I haven't started digging into all the court proceedings that I think people have risen up against me. But I will. And if you think that, like, I will hide it for you, I will not. Never again will I hide your malice on your behalf. So I would strongly advise that you maybe come clean with whatever you feel guilty about before I have a chance to look. Now, this is the age of Aquarius, and if you're not understanding what I'm doing here, I'm not only going to expose the liars, I'm also going to expose the monkeys. So if you have hidden lies on behalf of other people, understand you're part of that bucket too. So I would strongly suggest that even if you're part of the circle, you also. But honestly, I know that honesty is really far beyond some of you. So my expectations are really low. I'm expecting to do an expose later. So, do your thing, Chicken Wing. Now, if you're at the level of shock level shakes or projectile vomiting, there is very little that will help you. If you're at the point of panic where you are shaking uncontrollably, and if you've ever done this, you'll know what I'm talking about, or you've started vomiting, there's nothing that will calm you down except for alcohol, drugs, or very, very aggressive sex. Those are your three options. Everything else, like, you might as well throw it in the garbage. I will say that there's nothing more terrifying than having a panic condition when you're alone. There are times that I thought I was gonna die. And there are times that I'm pretty sure I almost did. And it's like you're on the floor and you're shaking. It's like your whole body's shaking. And there is nobody to call. Like, and you just, like, I passed out on the floor in the fetal position. The fact that I have surrounded myself in my life with people that are so fucking cruel is enough. I keep waiting in my life for the time where I'm not gonna get any lessons anymore because I feel like I'm maxed out of lessons. Like, I've grown a lot, like mostly beyond most people. Now I sit in this weird little puddle all by myself and I keep wondering, but I'm not gonna get lessons anymore. But I still keep getting. I'm still learning. Now, just before the shock level shakes, like the stage before that is just jitteriness. Like, you're so panicked that you're like, "Grrr." And the point before that is brain deadness. The point before jitteriness, you're staring at a wall and you're like, you can't move. And then the next shade of panic is just, you have to move because it's like something has to happen, but you're so jittery. And grrr. Now, in these two stages, you can do things to help that are outside of alcohol and drugs, which is where you want to go, right? And I found two things that are like the best in those circumstances, so I will share them with you. And one is meditation, if you can get there. And really hard to get into a meditative state from this state. You need to really focus on it. But it's meditation is number one, and number two is music therapy. Music can bring me out of some really nasty moods, and I will share two songs. And I know a lot of people know the Ring My Bell thing because it's a high frequency song. Love Shack is also another one that I can listen to, and it will bring me up a couple levels. But music therapy is very, very important. Now, in my life, I'll share a personal story. Because if you've met me or you've seen me out and about, you understand that when I'm in the car, I listen to really, really loud music, like almost like break your eardrums loud. I also sing, and that's the only place you're going to find me singing, or in my house. And that's because I'm terrified of people. When I was a kid, when I was about 8 years old, I went to my aunt's wedding and I sang karaoke, and it was like Madonna's Holiday. And I sang it with like my full lungs, and it was like 8 years old, and I was like, throw caution to the wind. I got home that night. My brother made fun of me for 5 years straight. My mom made fun of me too. I didn't sing for 20 years. I didn't sing until my daughter was born. And if you talk to my mother-in-law, she'll tell you that I sang all the time. It was because when my daughter was born, I started singing again. And it turns out I'm really good at it. And if you hear me in my car or in my house, you understand that I can belt it out Oh, like real good. Like I could probably make a living at it. If I had less self-esteem issues, I may even try to make a living at it, but I probably never will. But I will say singing at the top of your lungs is probably one of the best de-stressors that you can find. So if you hear me at some point, consider yourself very lucky. So as I mentioned in one of the previous videos, I'm gonna start dipping a little more into holistic theories to sort of soften some of the messages that are gonna come later. But I'm gonna touch on them as I go through some of these journal notes. And today I wanted to leave a little bit of a note on control and judgment. Now, everybody judges. When you meet somebody, you create a mental impression of them. But I think the judgment looks a lot different when it comes to these two polars. Over on this side, on the controlling side, people judge you based on just that, your capabilities to control. So when controlling people come in and judge, they will examine your capability to keep habits, your tendency to take in your recycling containers at the end of the week, your capability to sustain what they determine to be a normal life in the box of society that we live in today. Thus, controlling people actually tend to lift up other controlling people because it's like makes like, which means that over on the controlling side, it's like they have a club that nobody signed up for. On the emotional side, these people tend to judge others based on their values and morality. They tend to judge people based on your reaction to your environment based on what happens in their head. The only difference is that most of society lies about that. The emotional side is where morality lives. Now that it's been culled out of the environment, anybody feel a mass drop in values lately? It's all the same thing. Now that it's mostly controlling people and all of the emotional people are gone, the coupledoms that you're seeing are a lot of controlling people with controlling people, which is basically like coupledoms where people are in constant competition with each other. It's desperate housewives land. And I think in most circumstances, they still try and seek out the feminine. Most of them cheat. And if they're not cheating on each other, they're basically teaming up and hunting them together. It's swingers, finding their unicorns. Now, every day I get a little bit more information about the mass amount of people that have been utilized as pawns to take me down. And honestly, I'm not even upset. I'm actually a little flattered. Like, you had to gather that many people and it didn't even work. I think that's kind of pathetic. It absolutely amazes me that you douche canoes think that you can talk about women like that and then think that one will want to touch you. You are the whole problem. The whole problem with all of society, it's you. And if you don't change, you are going to end up alone with a bottle and your mother. And that's all you will have. And I know exactly why you're so fucked up. You were raised by a controlling mother and an emotional father. Your mother was mean and manipulative, so she taught you to hate women. She taught you to hate the thing that you feed on. And conversely, you had an emotional father, so you have a low-level attraction to men. Sound familiar? To the women of my generation, so that's the second one down from the war. Our men are broken. Until they're healed, they're not safe. Go a generation down. They actually like women and are dealing with packs of toxics themselves. What has happened with my ex in society, the crowdsourcing, the lies, the gossip, has happened before. It's a wave, and it's been going on for hundreds of years. In generations past, I would have run, likely to the forest, which makes sense. I feel a calling to it now. I would have run to the forest. He would have crowdsourced and packed it. And you know what? They would have found me, and you know what they would have done? Burnt me at the fucking stake. Now, the divine feminines of the past didn't have social media. They also didn't have data. That's the change. Quantifying abuse will stop all of those behaviors from the ground up. Done. No more. Never happening again. And for the first time in hundreds of years, my kind will survive this abuse. I will likely find another partner. I will likely breed more and create a generational line that's not scarred by toxic. So the second iteration of the Cocktails Crime and Crying conference call is tomorrow night at 5:30. Just come. Just please come. We can chat about basically anything. Like, I'm down. I can hit quantifying abuse. We can talk about the label. We can talk about generational trauma. We can just have cocktails and shoot shit. But if you're sitting around the table and you're watching all this stuff and you've been through some of the stuff that I've been through, just come. We need more community. We need to have a team too.